Eating healthy is supposedly one of the hardest things you can do as a modern human being, right next to assembling IKEA furniture and explaining TikTok to your parents. Everyone acts like maintaining a good diet requires a PhD in nutrition, a personal chef, and the willpower of a monk who's been fasting for 3 weeks. But here's the thing. What if I told you that eating healthy is actually easier than you think? Like, way easier than you've been led to believe. Answer these questions honestly. Do you spend 20 minutes in the grocery store staring at nutrition labels like you're trying to decode ancient hieroglyphics? That's diet confusion. Do you ever buy a bag of kale with the best intentions, only to find it 3 weeks later in your fridge looking like it belongs in a haunted swamp? Diet confusion. Have you ever eaten a salad for lunch and then immediately felt proud of yourself, even though it was basically just lettuce drowning in ranch dressing with some croutons that definitely weren't organic? Diet confusion. The problem is that the health and wellness industry has turned eating into rocket science. Everywhere you look, there's some new superfood that's supposedly going to change your life, or some diet trend that requires you to eliminate entire food groups like you're playing nutritional Jenga. One week, carbs are the devil. The next week, fat is going to kill you. Then suddenly, everyone's chugging celery juice like it's the fountain of youth. And if you're not doing intermittent fasting while standing on one leg, you're basically failing at life. But here's what nobody talks about. Over 80% of people who try complicated diets give up within 3 months. Not because they lack willpower, but because they've been convinced that healthy eating has to be this elaborate, time-consuming, expensive lifestyle overhaul. The result? People bounce between extreme diets, feel guilty about every food choice, and end up more confused than when they started. It's like trying to learn piano by immediately attempting to play Chopin when you haven't even figured out where middle C is. This brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Common Sense. Remember Common Sense? It used to be pretty popular before we all decided that eating required a master's degree. Common Sense says that if your great-grandmother wouldn't recognize it as food, maybe don't put it in your body. Common Sense says that an apple is probably healthier than apple-flavored candy, regardless of what the marketing department wants you to believe. There are tons of methods people swear by for healthy eating that are absolutely ridiculous. Let's get those out of the way. First, there are the macro-counting people who weigh their food like they're dealing drugs and log every single bite into an app. They'll spend 15 minutes calculating whether they can afford those 3 extra blueberries without throwing off their entire nutritional universe. In the 1950s, people just ate food and somehow managed to survive without knowing the exact ratio of protein to carbs in their breakfast. Then there are the detox cleanse people who think their liver and kidneys have just been sitting around doing nothing their whole lives, waiting for some expensive juice to come save the day. They'll spend a week drinking liquid kale and acting like they've discovered the secret to immortality, when really they're just hungry and irritable. Your body already has a detox system built in. It's called your liver, and it's been working overtime since you were born. The supplement-obsessed folks are another category entirely. They have more pills than a small pharmacy and genuinely believe that health comes in capsule form. They'll skip meals but never miss their 17 different vitamins as if they're trying to become some kind of nutritional cyborg. Meanwhile, they're ignoring the fact that actual food contains nutrients in forms their body actually recognizes and can use effectively. Here's the reality check nobody wants to hear. Healthy eating isn't about perfection, and it's definitely not about following the latest trend that some influencer is pushing while they're getting paid to hold a smoothie. It's about making consistently better choices over time, and those choices don't have to be complicated or expensive or Instagram-worthy. The methods that actually work are so simple they're almost boring, which is probably why nobody talks about them. But boring methods are the ones that stick because you can actually maintain them without feeling like you're training for some kind of nutritional Olympics. First, eat more real food and less processed garbage. I know, revolutionary concept. Real food is stuff that grows from the ground, swims in the ocean, or walks around on farms. If it has more than 5 ingredients and half of them sound like they belong in a chemistry lab, maybe skip it. This doesn't mean you have to shop exclusively at Whole Foods and spend your entire paycheck on organic everything. Regular fruits and vegetables from the normal grocery store are still infinitely better than whatever's in that box with the cartoon mascot screaming about how fun breakfast can be. Second, use the plate method instead of obsessing over calories. Fill half your plate with vegetables, 1/4 with protein, and 1/4 with carbs. That's it. No measuring, no weighing, no apps required. Your great-grandmother could have figured this out, and she definitely wasn't consulting nutrition influencers on social media. This method works because it naturally balances your nutrients without requiring a degree in mathematics or the patience of a saint. Third, cook more meals at home. This is a game changer that makes everything else easier because when you cook at home, you actually know what's going into your food. Restaurant meals are designed to taste amazing, not to keep you healthy. So they're usually loaded with salt, sugar, and enough butter to lubricate a small aircraft. When you cook at home, you control the ingredients, the portions, and the cooking methods. Plus, cooking is actually kind of relaxing once you get the hang of it, and it's way cheaper than eating out all the time. Fourth, drink more water and less liquid calories. This sounds obvious, but most people are walking around mildly dehydrated while chugging beverages that have more sugar than a candy store. Your fancy coffee drink with 17 modifications isn't a personality trait. It's basically dessert in a cup. Water is free, has 0 calories, and your body actually needs it to function. If plain water is too boring, add some lemon or cucumber or mint. Revolutionary stuff right here. Fifth, practice the 80% rule. Eat until you're about 80% full, not until you need to unbutton your pants. This takes practice because most of us have been trained to clean our plates like we're preparing for hibernation. But eating until you're satisfied, not stuffed, is how people in some of the healthiest cultures in the world have been doing it for centuries. Your stomach isn't a garbage disposal, and food isn't going extinct tomorrow. Sixth, plan ahead without being psychotic about it. Spend 20 minutes on Sunday thinking about what you're going to eat during the week. This doesn't mean meal prepping like you're running a military operation, just having a general idea so you're not standing in your kitchen at 7 p.m. wondering if cereal counts as dinner. When you have a plan, you're less likely to order takeout or grab whatever processed nonsense is convenient. The beautiful thing about these methods is that they work together. When you eat more real food, you naturally feel better and have more energy to cook at home. When you cook at home, you drink more water and eat appropriate portions. When you plan ahead, everything becomes easier and less stressful. It's like a positive feedback loop that doesn't require you to become a different person overnight. These approaches won't transform your life in a week, but they'll steadily improve how you feel and look over time without making you feel deprived or confused. In the short term, you'll probably have more energy and better digestion, but in the long term, you'll develop sustainable habits that actually stick instead of bouncing between extreme diets that make you miserable. Healthy eating can be simple when you stop overcomplicating it and start focusing on consistency over perfection. You don't need to follow every trend or buy every supplement or turn your kitchen into a laboratory. You just need to make better choices more often than not, and those choices don't have to be dramatic or expensive or worthy of a social media post. For some of you, with these tips, hopefully your relationship with food becomes less stressful and more enjoyable. You're not controlled by whatever diet is trending this month. You don't have to label foods as good or bad. You don't constantly worry about whether you're eating the perfect combination of nutrients. You realize that health isn't about restriction, it's about nourishment. The way to feel good is to stop making eating complicated and start making it consistent. And you'll discover that taking care of yourself is actually pretty straightforward when you approach it with common sense instead of anxiety.